Travel is an interest that never grows old. It's impossible to experience the wealth of human cultures and natural landscapes in a single lifetime. So most travellers attempt to prioritise a series of magnificent locations spread across the planet. Today, we're looking at the 10 most beautiful places in the world. The Maldives have a reputation as a stellar vacation destination with picturesque beaches and a string of seemingly perfect island paradises. But Vadu Island, part of the Ra Atoll, is easily one of the most jaw-dropping locations on Earth. By day, it looks like any other holiday destination. With a population of only 500, the small island mostly caters to tourists and beachcombers. But at night, something spectacular happens. Through a process called bioluminescence, a population of microscopic plankton turn the ocean bright blue. Bioluminescence indicates that an organism can produce light independently. Stress caused by the movement of the sea and waves leads the plankton to emit light as a defense mechanism similar to some fireflies. The bioluminescent light has an electric blue neon color, radiating further as each wave breaks. The spectacular phenomena is one of nature's rarest events. It's so remarkable, Hollywood decided to feature the glowing shores in Ang Lee's award-winning film, Life of Pi, to illuminate the sea for the lost protagonist. Also known as the Sea of Stars, this occurrence in the Maldives depends on several factors, including the year's climate and the growth of the bioluminescent plankton. Nobody can predict when and where the event will occur. Vadu Island is the most well-known spot, but it can also be viewed on one of the other 1,200 islands in the Maldives under the right conditions. According to locals, the spectacular event is more prevalent from late summer to the end of the year, but these are just personal accounts. The exact time and location are likely to vary for different islands. Palawan is the largest island of the province of Palawan in the Philippines and the fifth largest island of the country. Although the island is a popular tourist destination, it fulfills the ideal image of an unspoiled tropical environment. With seascapes the equal of any in Southeast Asia and terrestrial and aquatic wildlife, the Philippines' most sparsely populated region is also the most beguiling. As of 2016, the main island of Palawan was rated the most beautiful island in the world, as voted by respective readers of rival travel publications Condé Nast Traveler and Travel and Leisure. It's the second year running that Palawan has won the Condé Nast Traveler Award, as well as the second time in 4 years that it has occupied Travel and Leisure's top spot. Of course, there are no objective criteria to rate the best beach, but Palawan comes extremely close to perfection. It's the most biodiverse island in the Philippines. Due to amazing landscapes and high biodiversity, Palawan Island is known as the last ecological frontier of the Philippines. Environmentalists have insisted that the Philippines government place restrictions on the beach so that it can remain beautiful for generations to come. More than just a blindingly white expanse, the alien landscapes of Bolivia's Salar de Uyuni and its surreal surrounding deserts have become a rightful highlight of the South American tourist trail. An endless sheet of hexagonal tiles dotted with pyramids of salt, Bolivia's salt flats are a dazzling display of nature's magic. Despite the desert dryness, freezing night temperatures, and fierce desert sun, this landscape is not devoid of life. Pink flamingos, ancient cacti, and rare hummingbirds all live in the Salar de Uyuni. But aside from being the ideal location to produce mind-bending photographs, it's also full of cacti-covered islands, dormant volcanoes, and other wildlife. Truly unique in the world, the salt flats are the kind of place that photos don't do justice. You've got to see the Salar in person to be truly wowed. In addition to local workers who harvest these minerals, the landscape is home to the world's first salt hotel and populated by road-tripping tourists. The harsh beauty and desolate nature of Salar de Uyuni can make for an incredible experience for any traveller. Provence seems to be nearly everyone's favourite bit of France. The natives are friendly, the summer weather is superb, the wine is good, and the pastis before dinner is delightfully numbing as you sit in the shade with little more to do than plop ice cubes into a cloud of anise-flavoured liquor. Whether you're cruising the clifftop roads, sunbathing on the beaches, or browsing the weekly markets, Provence has something to offer for people with virtually every interest. There are some incredible buildings in Provence, like the Palais des Papes in Avignon, which is the largest Gothic structure in Europe. It was built over the 16th century by consecutive popes. The Notre Dame de la Garde in Marseille, as well as the new Mucem building and Fort Saint-Jean, will take your breath away with their sheer scale and magnificence. And that says nothing of the natural wonders that spread across this enticing French region. The hiking trail between Marseille and Cassis is renowned for its beautiful wildflowers and delicious local products like honey and fruit. One of the planet's most awe-inspiring sights, the Iguazu Falls, are simply astounding. A visit is a jaw-dropping, visceral experience, and the power and noise of the cascades, which are a chain of hundreds of waterfalls nearly 3 kilometers in extension, live forever in the memory. An added benefit is the setting. The falls lie split between Brazil and Argentina in a large expanse of national park, much of it rainforest teeming with unique flora and fauna. Argentina's Iguazu National Park is visited by more than 1 million people every year, most staying for just a day before moving on. But it's worth a longer stay and is also a great destination for jungle beginners. If having to camp among the crawlies puts you off, you can stay in one of a handful of accessible lodges, some of them quite luxurious. The Iguazu Falls are both taller and wider than Niagara Falls. The longest drop in the Iguazu waterfall system is 269 feet, whereas Niagara Falls are only 165 feet tall. In terms of width, the Iguazu Falls are 4 times wider than Niagara Falls. The Grand Canyon is one of the most marvelous natural wonders on Earth. Most scientists believe that the Colorado River began carving the Grand Canyon about 6 million years ago, but a 2012 study contained a real shocker, suggesting that the process may have begun as far back as 70 million years. In all likelihood, the Grand Canyon, as we know it today, started out as a series of smaller canyons 70 million years ago, but the majority of the canyon did not begin to take shape until much more recently. Nearly 40 identified rock layers form the Grand Canyon's walls. Because most layers are exposed through the canyon's 277-mile length, they afford the opportunity to study geological evolution through time. Stargazing in Grand Canyon is a special experience. The clarity of the night skies was recognized in summer 2019 when the park was officially designated as an International Dark Sky Park by the International Dark Sky Association. In preparing for the recognition, the Park Service converted thousands of lights across the park to dark sky compliant options. This is a natural beauty that truly must be seen to be believed. The Plitvice Lakes National Park, Croatia's most popular tourist attraction, was granted UNESCO World Heritage status in 1979. Located roughly halfway between capital city Zagreb and Zadar on the coast, the lakes are a definite must-see in Croatia. Simply said, it's gorgeous in this one-of-a-kind park. Lakes, waterfalls, and cool boardwalk trails all work magically together to create a very unique destination. Around every bend is another beautiful view. Be prepared to exclaim and take lots of photos. The waters flowing over the limestone and chalk have, over thousands of years, deposited travertine barriers, creating natural dams, which in turn have created a series of beautiful lakes, caves, and waterfalls. These geological processes continue today. The forests in the park are home to bears, wolves, and many rare bird species. Comprised of 16 lakes and over 90 waterfalls, the Plitvice Lake site is huge and there are loads of trails to explore. There are 22 kilometres of hikes around the lake system alone, with another 36 kilometres of hikes throughout the national park leading off the lakes. Even a brisk hike around the lakes will take a single day, so most locals recommend staying 2 to 3 nights. This will give you 2 full days to enjoy and experience the park. The Burmese pagan kingdom that ruled the ancient temple plain of Bagan in Myanmar was extraordinarily devout. Fervent believers in Theravada Buddhism, the Bagan kings and their subjects built thousands of stupas between the 9th and 13th centuries CE. Modern tourists regard the remaining temples of Bagan as the equal of Angkor Archaeological Park in Cambodia. In 2019, Bagan pulled alongside its Cambodian rival with its belated recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Rising from the plain's canopy of green are temples, hundreds of them, beautiful, otherworldly silhouettes that were built by the kings of Bagan between 1057 and 1287. As the first rays of the morning sun creep across the parched plain, hundreds of red brick stupas and temple ruins turn a burning gold. It's a scene that has played out day after day for nearly 1,000 years, and watching the sunrise or set over the temple-sprinkled plains of Bagan is as magical today as it ever has been. For many people, Bagan is the very reason they flew to Myanmar. Though tourism is only beginning to proliferate in Myanmar, Bagan is certain to put the country on the map. Lençóis Maranhenses National Park in Maranhão State is one of Brazil's top natural attractions. It's an ecosystem formed of white sand dunes which cover 383,000 acres and look like bedsheets, or lençóis in Portuguese, spread out on the northeastern coast. At first glance, it looks like a picture-perfect desert, miles and miles of sand with almost no vegetation. But it's not a desert. Lençóis Maranhenses gets about 47 inches of rain each year, making it too rainy to be officially considered a desert. From the months of January to June, the area is inundated with torrential rainstorms. Rainwater pools in the valleys between the dunes, creating thousands of crystal-clear lagoons. In July, when the park's lagoons are at their peak, some reach over 300 feet long and 10 feet deep. And although these lagoons exist for only a few months a year, they are not devoid of life. Interconnected lagoons link up with the neighbouring rivers, creating channels for fish to enter the temporary pools. Other fish, like the wolffish, spend the dry season dormant, burrowed far enough under the sand to reach still damp mud. When the wet season comes and the lagoons appear, the wolffish emerge to feed on insects and other fish that make the lagoons their summer home. Swirling orange, yellow, white and brown lunar landscape of this national park is the result of sandstone and mineral deposits that have eroded into odd shapes over the course of millennia. Infrastructure was installed inside the park after it was named a National Geopark in 2011, making it, for better or worse, very accessible to tourists. Wooden stairs and platforms allow visitors to reach the tops of the hills without damaging the delicate landscape and offer views over the coloured strata. Extending along the northern slope of Qilian Mountain in West China, Zhangyi Dangxia National Geological Park in Gansu is best representative of China's colourful Danxia landform and the largest Danxia landscape in an arid area with a wide variety of landforms. Undulating fiery red ridges together with amazing multicoloured mountain folds transform the park into an immense sea of fire with rolling waves, earning it the reputation of China's Rainbow Mountains and also one of the top 10 geographical wonders of the world, selected by the National Geographic. The only reason these multicoloured mountains aren't more famous is that they are located a bit off the usual tourist trail in Gansu province. But with high-speed trains now connecting Gansu with Beijing, getting here is easier than ever and is most definitely worth the effort. Few villages are as iconic as the whitewashed buildings that dapple the hills of Santorini in Greece. With a population of only 15,000, this Aegean getaway has been luring visitors for thousands of years. Human settlement started around the year 3000 BC and has continued ever since. Visitors will enjoy the cobbled streets and white frescoes leading to untamed beaches with beautiful azure waters. Most amazingly, Santorini is sitting atop an active volcano. Red and black rocks create a wild landscape around the crater of Nea Kameni, a small island at the centre of the caldera. From the top of a volcano with a 2.5 million year history, you have an incredible view of the caldera. The myth that Santorini is the ancient city of Atlantis, which submerged over 9,500 years ago, comes to life before your eyes. If you approach Santorini from the water, it's hard not to be awed by the sheer cliffs that soar above a turquoise sea, by the fact that you're sailing an immense crater of a drowned volcano, and that before you lies an island shaped by an ancient eruption, cataclysmic beyond imagining.